Hello and welcome to another knitting pod. I am Lena and thank you for being here with me today. We have so much fun stuff to chat about today. The most fun thing I have to report is that we're going to talk about knitting, but we're also going to talk about spinning. So I cannot wait to share some of my very short spinning journey with you guys. If you are new here, thank you for stopping in. I hope you enjoy chit-chatting about all things making. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Happy to be with you as usual. I just feel like we should jump right in because there is so much to talk about. I have been slightly sick this week and I just have congestion and my throat is very uncomfortable. So if I am slightly off, I apologize. But let us start with the mystery knit along. Helen Stewart's 12 birds or 24 birds, depending on whether you picked the full-size circular shawl or the half circle. I cannot believe that the last clue has been released. It's just flown by. It's only when you actually measure something in weeks that you realize, like, oh my gosh, 6 weeks have gone by, y'all. That is bonkers. Anyway, I started my 6th clue yesterday, and here it is. It's such a beauty. I love it. I love this panel that is the color pop. I love that it's, got some variation, whereas the others are solids. So we started with these colors in faded. We did the color pop section, and then we're fading back, and it ends kind of where we started. So I should be done. I could definitely be done this weekend if I focused and worked on it. I don't know that I will just sprint to the end. I will finish it by next time we see each other, but the last clue is just the same 2 rows repeated till the end, and then you cast off. So it's pretty basic and unexciting. As now that the whole thing has been released and I see it and I've worked on it, the only 2 mystery knit-alongs I've ever done are Stephen West and this one. So they were truly the opposite experiences. So with this MKAL, I felt like it was a very manageable amount every week and you could easily keep on track. Like I said last week, I have other stuff going on, like other projects going on. And if you are a monogamous knitter, this might not even get you through because I would finish, way in advance. So it was definitely very manageable. Whereas Stephen West is in 4 weeks and the clues are just immense. And oftentimes I felt like I was just sprinting, trying to keep up. And I said this last week, obviously you don't have to keep up. This is not school. You are not being graded. It's just for fun. But if you're like me, you're just programmed to keep up. It's just who I am. I want to keep up. So the flip side of that is these Helen Stewart clues were very manageable, but they were also extraordinarily simplistic and sort of, to me, at this point, have gotten a little bit boring. Like, I wish it was more challenging, especially given that the size of the clues were smaller. I wish it was more engaging. Like, it felt, especially clue 6, feels very, it's literally just kind of the same thing over and over, and it's not that exciting. Whereas with Stephen West, you're so challenged, you're learning new techniques, and you're watching really unique things unfold. And I don't think I appreciated that as much until this, where I felt like it was just, really just very, very simple. which is awesome if you are a bit more of a beginner or if you're just looking for a more easy project. But I personally do enjoy a little more challenge in a shawl. So I kind of wish I could meld those two characteristics of each into one. Like, I really do wish if Stevens were a little longer, I would feel like it's more enjoyable. I might need to just like, if I decide to do the next one, I might split each week into 2 weeks for myself and like create a schedule. And I know that sounds super type A, but I think it would make it more enjoyable for me. So we'll see. That is what I'm thinking. But I can't believe I have this beautiful shawl completed with no sense of having to trudge through. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't super exciting, but it never got super boring either. So it has been an enjoyable experience, and I really do think it's very pretty. Especially am excited because it is just not that pretty to look at unblocked lace. Sorry, the lace was getting caught on my necklace. That is bad. I'm gonna tuck that in. What was I saying? Oh yeah, once we wet block this, it will open up and relax and it won't be all squished up. So we'll be able to actually enjoy its full beauty. And I can't wait for that. Because right now it looks quite small, to be honest with you. So yeah, I wonder how those of you who have done the 24 birds, how you feel about the size of the clue. I know that shawl is just a lot bigger. It takes up a lot more yarn, but I hadn't heard from anybody that it felt like each week was overwhelming in size. So I hope it was fun for you. I really enjoy kind of going down a road that I don't know what's going to be on it. And this was no different. It was really, really fun. I've loved working with Farmer's Daughter and the Foxy Lady base. It's just a very, very pretty fiber. Even though it's a single, it doesn't have any of the, like, I've knit with Noro single ply, and it definitely has that unbalanced spin where it's leaning. The stitches are going to lean a little bit. This doesn't have that. They're very nice and even, and I'm grateful because in the lace, I think that an unbalanced single would not look nice. So I loved this yarn. I hope it doesn't pill. I kind of feel like it looks like it's softening a little with all the handling, but it hasn't pilled, so let's hope it stays that way. Singles are definitely one of those things where you can get pilling, but since this has silk in it, I was really hoping that that wouldn't happen. So that is that. Next time you see it, it will be off the needles and absolutely delightful to wrap around myself. So that is the MKAL. I really can't believe it's over. It just has sped by. 6 weeks sounds like such a long time, but it is apparently not. The next thing that is on my needles that has been my out in the world project that I keep in my gorgeous mood bag. By the way, I have been using this nonstop and I absolutely love it. And here's another thing I really wanted to tell you, 2 things real quick. I know I keep gushing about this bag. Number one, Universal Yarn is where I got this, and they're having a sale for Mother's Day, I believe, and it's 20% off, and some of their mood bags are on sale, and they're much cheaper. So if you are looking for an excuse or an incentive, whichever way you want to spend that, go check out their website, and maybe you will get yourself a little gift. The other thing I wanted to say is I had this at a basketball game last week, and we were sitting between games having coffee, and my husband accidentally knocked his coffee over and spilled it, and it splashed all over this bag. And I was just, oh my God, you know how that feels when that happens, like especially when something is brand new and you're just so careful. Thank goodness. It came pre-treated. The leather came pre-treated, but I sprayed mine with leather protectant. I used the one I had from UGG, for the boots. I had a little UGG kit for my boots. And I sprayed that generously all over my bag, and the coffee did not stain at all. So I was thrilled about that. So I thought I would just throw that out there because protect your investment in your beautiful, beloved bags and spray them and let them dry properly, and it is worth the extra step. Now, moving on to what is inside my beautiful mood bag is my Shizen pullover by Eri Shimizu. I have made good progress on it. I'm gonna put the bag on the floor so I have a little more space. I am still loving this so much. Now, I have not tried it on yet. I just haven't had time to put it on barber cords and try it on, but I need to do that because I need to know how long to make it. But as you can see, it is just stunningly beautiful. I love it. Like, it's making me smile just looking at it in the screen because I just fell in love with this garment and it's turning out just like I hoped. And yay for that. So excited. Like I said last time, I'm using linen Quill by Pearl Soho in the colorway Reed Gray, which I think is just perfect. It's neither too white nor too, I didn't want this in a color. I want it in a like beautiful summery neutral. And the simplicity of this, the different types of ribbing, I don't know, it's such an effective design. It's just so simple, but not only does it look visually beautiful, but it's so fun to knit, even though I don't have to look at the pattern. I know exactly, where the ribbing changes, but just those little changes in the ribbing keep it really interesting. And I love it. Love it so, so much. I would totally make this again. I showed you guys the little cable detail before. Where'd she go? Right here. You can see that cable. And again, it's so subtle and beautiful. And I love that just subtlety of this piece. This is why it's fun to explore new designers, because just the difference of a point of view in a designer can keep knitting so fresh and exciting and fun. I love it. I couldn't recommend this as a summer design enough. It's just gorgeous. So it has a split hem detail, which I absolutely love. I think it's like a small thing that makes it makes your garment look more casual, and I really like that. So I know I have to stop with enough room to split for the hem and then do the front and back separately, and then the sleeves. And it's gonna be just a quick, easy, delightful project that I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of. Even though this is a wool blend, I feel like I'll be able to wear it in the warmer months. So yeah. Very happy about that. As I told you guys last time, there's this lateral braid, which is a really fun detail also. And you can really see those elongated stitches that I still don't really know why that happened. I did this very loosely because I was afraid if I tightened that up that it would create a tighter bodice, and I did not want that to happen. So I don't know if that extra long stitch is because of that. But as I said last time, we're looking at that as a design detail rather than a flaw, which is, it's all a matter of perspective. And my perspective on it is, I think it's beautiful. It's just another little detail that's pretty. So anyway, not too much to say about this because I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks, but I have to have an on-the-go project. And a lot of times when I'm not working with color, I get really bored. Like that cardigan I made that I always talk about, it was really boring. I just didn't enjoy working with that yarn, but I love linen quill. I think I really do enjoy working with fingering weight yarn more than I do like a worsted weight. There's just, I don't know, there's a flow to it. There's a ease working with the yarn that I enjoy. So even though this is not brightly colored, I am having a super fun time. So yeah, that is that. We are zooming along. I have so much stuff to do today, and I have to go to my daughter's school. They're having this class presentation. So if I am moving faster than normal, I apologize, but I have to get several things done after this. So we're just going to keep on moving forward. Okay. Now, apologies in advance because we're going to transition to spinning now. And I have so many thoughts and feelings. I'm afraid it's all going to come tumbling out in like a very chaotic mess. So I'm going to try to breathe, stay focused, and speak clearly without getting too excited, because I'm excited. I am so in love with spinning, and it's everything I could have hoped for and more. And let's talk about it. Okay, so last time we talked, I had ordered my wheel. So my friend Sharon had gotten the Ashford Kiwi 3. I went and tried it out. I thought it was great. So I just finally took the plunge and ordered it. And I did have a little anxiety because I felt like I spent a lot of money on it, and I really didn't even know if I was going to enjoy spinning. I had never really tried spinning in any real earnest way that would make me know. So I definitely felt a little scared that it was going to not bring me as much joy as I had hoped. But I figured, worst comes to worst, so many people are in the market for spinning wheels that I could sell mine if it came to the fact that I wasn't using it. Rest assured, none of that came to pass, because I have just wholeheartedly fallen in love with spinning. Like, for years, I've heard about other podcasters just wax on and on about how much they love to spin. And I was always jealous, and I was always uncertain that I had the ability to learn to spin. And oh my gosh, now I totally understand the obsession. It's very hard to articulate the feeling of joy while spinning. Now, I have made some notes so that I can be more eloquent and not just, go on, and then you really get nothing out of this. So, a few things I've learned in my very short journey. So we got it, I think it was delivered on Saturday, and then my husband put it together on Sunday. And it was funny because, well, it's not funny, but my husband's, he had pulled his back and he was in a lot of pain, and he was having trouble, he could stand up comfortably, but like sitting on the ground, putting the wheel together was going to be a struggle. And so I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about putting it together. Like, we'll put it together once you're 100%. And he said, no, like, I'll just put it up on the counter, the kitchen counter, and I'll put it together. And then that way it's at my height. And I think I was looking for an excuse not to put it together, because I was so intimidated by the whole process. I felt like if he put it together, then I was going to have to confront how to figure this thing out. And I am the type of person that, given the opportunity, I will stay in my comfort zone. I have never naturally been someone who loves the struggle of learning something new. I've always thought that I was uncomfortable with it. And only in the last handful of years have I realized that I actually love being in the beginner space. I just have to do it. Like, I have to stop thinking about it and just actually do it. So it was reminding myself of that I was going to find a way forward and like let it happen. Don't just avoid it, because there's some avoidance going on. So anyway, he built it on Sunday, and since I decided I wanted to jump on the spinning bandwagon, I had been exploring YouTube, and I had found some, spinning podcasts. For instance, Jillian Eve, which I think she's very well known in the spinning world, and she has lots of information and tutorials and everything on her YouTube channel. And there are several others. I mean, there is as much spinning content on YouTube as there is knitting content. So that is an insane amount. Tutorials, information, just this, that, and the other. Two things about that. Number one, Jillian Eve, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't pull punches on anything. I tell you guys what I think. I knew she had a lot of content, but her style and delivery, I wasn't going to be able to watch video after video of hers, because there was just, I don't love the way she speaks on her YouTube channel. So I knew that wasn't going to work. And number two, on YouTube, I feel like there's a lot of information, but it's not necessarily presented in like a linear order, in a very basic, fundamental way. It's almost like a broad overview, or, basics, but not, I don't know. I needed someone to be like, I'm in preschool, spinning preschool. Let's go all the way back. Tell me the parts of the wheel. Explain how a wheel works. I just needed ultra, ultra, ultra basic. So I found two resources that one of which I'm using and I could not recommend enough. The first is, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called the School of Sweet Georgia. It's got classes on spinning and weaving from ultra beginner to much more advanced. And then the second one is Craftsy, which I know most of you have probably heard of. Classes on everything from painting to baking to knitting to spinning. And I decided to go with Craftsy just because I thought I really actually liked the diversity of their platform, because my daughter and I like to watercolor sometimes, and there were some watercoloring classes on there. So I thought, I'm going to go with Craftsy. So you can do like a monthly membership or a yearly. And when I was signing up, I was going to sign up for a month, and it's very reasonable. It was like $11 a month. But as I was signing up, it says, do you have a coupon code? And I thought, I do not, but I am going to just Google Craftsy coupon code. And I found a coupon online for a year for like $1.50. Now, that is just an insane steal. I don't know why they're doing that, but they're doing that. So I instantly signed up, and I cannot tell you, I truly think that, I don't think I would have enjoyed this journey so far if it weren't for that class. The class is just whatever I forgot what it's called, but like basics of spinning or something like that. I love the teacher. She just talks super normal, very matter of fact. Every lesson, it just builds upon, one upon the other. She explains wheels, like the different styles of wheels. In fact, I think that class would be super helpful if you're trying to pick a wheel, because honestly, I didn't even understand wheels and like what different kinds there were until she explained them so well. She talks about the different kinds of fiber you can use. Obviously, she teaches you how to actually spin, but she goes through lots of really basic beginner exercises on the wheel to get you ready to spin fiber. And that was, I think, the key, the number one key. The first key was actually the Craftsy class itself. And I'm going to say I actually prefer the online class to an in-person class, because with the online class, of course, there's the obvious, you can do it on your own schedule. Look, every one of us is busy, and it's a lot easier to just watch 15 minutes here, and then when you've got time later, finish the class. But also, you can go back so easily and rewatch things that you need to be refreshed on or that you didn't quite catch the first time. Whereas if you're in a class with other people and it's like an hour long once a week, which I have done with spinning, it is not enough time. I did not get a lot out of the spinning class I took a couple of years ago for several reasons, but one of which I just really needed one-on-one. And as silly as this sounds, it felt like I was with this teacher on the Craftsy class one-on-one. It was beyond helpful. I really don't think I could have gotten the hang of it as quickly as I have if it weren't for the Craftsy class. So could not recommend it enough. And I'm also I love learning in solitude, like all through my education. Like when I was in law school, study groups are a huge thing. And I never did it because I like learning on my own. I like processing all the information in the way I want to. So this allows me to kind of do that same thing, whereas I can learn in my own, in my own way, in my own time, at my own pace. So I would highly recommend it. I can't speak for the School of Sweet Georgia, but I've heard good things about that one too. It was more expensive than Craftsy and limited to, I think, fiber crafts. Another thing I would say is not to skip, like don't rush to the spinning of fiber. This worked out for me because I was so intimidated that I was terrified to pick up actual fiber. So the wheel games, as she calls them, were great for me. They felt very low stakes. I felt relaxed. I felt like these are the small steps that are getting me more comfortable with just all these basic movements. The first and foremost being treadling, so pedaling, basically. I actually got this little nugget from somebody's YouTube video. I don't even remember the content creator's name, apologies. But she said to really practice treadling slowly. And I did not realize that was going to be as helpful as it was. So she said, kind of try to have a song in your head, like row, row, row your boat, and try to treadle at that really slow pace. And practicing that for a couple of days, I cannot tell you how helpful that was once I actually started spinning fiber, because the slower you're treadling, the easier it is to resist death gripping the fiber. If you're treadling quickly, your tension within your hands is going to shoot up. And in the long run, that is absolutely not sustainable for your body. I've had enough physical therapy and physical injuries that landed me in physical therapy that I know holding loosely is a key, whether it's in knitting or in spinning. So I have really worked from the get-go not to hold my fiber tightly. I try to hold very loosely, and that means treadling slowly. And being able to treadle slowly means you have to practice that skill separately. I also think spinning pre-made yarn is invaluable. So that gets you kind of in the motion of treadling while also feeding something into your wheel. Those two things were the basic building blocks. And I only did those for like a few days before I tried to spin fiber. But those helped me not only build the body awareness and muscle memory, but also help me get over my intimidation of the wheel. I was so intimidated by the wheel and that I was gonna break it or mess it up and then not know what to do, how to fix the situation. But then while you're doing that, you just get used to pulling the yarn back out and feeding it back through the orifice and all the different things you need to get used to doing. practicing those wheel games really helped. The other little thing that I realized was, like I said, I took a spinning class a couple of years ago, and it was 4 weeks long, and 3 of those weeks were drop spindle, and then the fourth week she brought several wheels for us to try out. I did not like drop spindle at all. I felt like it was not satisfying. It didn't have a rhythm. It felt kind of meaningless to me. And also, I was a fairly new knitter, and I was just not ready to share my love of knitting the time it took. I wasn't ready to split that into two. It almost reminded me of like when you have a baby and the baby starts growing up, and then everybody's asking you when you're going to have your next baby. There's a point at which you're just like, you can't even think about dividing your attention. And then there just comes a time for some people where they're like, oh, I actually can visualize that now. I can imagine dividing my attention between two things I love rather than just focusing on this one thing. And I had gotten to that point. And when I took that drop spindle class, I wasn't at that point at all. So I really think you should respect where you are in your journey of fiber. And if you really feel the urge to spin on a wheel, don't let a drop spindle stand in your way. Like, I don't think you need to master a drop spindle in order to jump onto a wheel. The only problem is wheels are just prohibitively expensive, right? I mean, I think I paid $700 for my brand new Kiwi 3. You don't have to spend that much, of course, but I just didn't want to be getting, a used wheel and then not liking it. And I felt like at the end of the day, I was going to end up spending a lot more money on that journey. So I just jumped right into the end point. You don't have to do that, but all that to say, there's a big difference between drop spindles and spinning wheels in your experience of spinning. So if you did not like drop spindle, don't count out a spinning wheel just yet. As for the spinning wheel, I picked the Kiwi 3. I could not be happier. I love it. I love it. It is aesthetically beautiful. I love the clean lines of it. It's so simple. It's small. It doesn't take up a ton of room. It folds, easy to move around, which for me was critical because I want to be able to take it out on my patio and spin outside. I don't know, if I go to a spinning group at one of my local yarn shops, I want to be able to take it. I love that it is portable. It feels very comfortable in my body. I just love it. I love it so much. And it's funny to watch my whole family interact with it. So I'm sitting on the couch and my spinning wheel is over there. There's a big window and I have set up my spinning wheel in front of it. And it's just delightful. So I get to see outside, all of spring is blooming, and I get a spin, and it's just been so lovely. But my kids will walk over there and my husband will walk over there, and sometimes if nothing's on the wheel, they'll sit down and treadle, and there's something really alluring about a spinning wheel, and it's fun to watch my family interact with it. And even my husband said, I can see the appeal of spinning. It just looks so relaxing. And you guys, it just is. I love it so much. Like, I have knit so much less this week because once I started practicing spinning, I fell in love. What I did. So one thing that also helped me is my spinning wheel. I bought it from the Woolery, and they were very kind and included a big bag of beautiful roving. It's undyed and it's so soft. It's not roving, I'm sorry, it's top. It is beautiful. I love it. But I was very hesitant to literally the first time to waste it on what was going to happen. Then I remembered my daughter was into felting for a while, needle felting, and she had bought, or I had bought for her, lots of colorful roving that came in like long strips, different colors, and she's not needle felting anymore. So I grabbed that stuff and I decided, what the heck, I'm just going to try. That was the perfect beginning point for learning to spin, because it was just sitting around. It was going to kind of go to waste anyway. And I would make small strips and slowly, that way at the beginning when it kept breaking and I kept messing up, I just was dealing with more manageable chunks. And as I've gained more proficiency, I've been able to go for longer. I've challenged myself to get through the entire strip before I lose it in some way. And watching the colors kind of just come out, it's so much fun. I wish I had, let's see, I might actually, I thought I had a piece to show you, but I didn't. However, I do have I just popped the bobbin off to show you guys my very beginner, I was about to say roving, but this is actual yarn. I'm so proud of this, you guys. I really am. If only you had x-ray vision and you could see to the bottom of this bobbin at what I started with. It is an incredible progression in such a short amount of time. I can't believe it. I'm so pleased. I was so intimidated by the wheel, but also by everybody who ever talks about spinning. They're talking about it from an experienced person's point of view, and all the terminology and everything there's so much, it's overwhelming. And that's where I think, again, the Craftsy class just took it back to square one and builds your confidence and your knowledge. And then all the chatter you hear on different podcasts, it kind of fades away and you're able to just process one skill at a time. And I got to this point a lot faster than I anticipated. I thought I was going to be struggling a lot longer than I was. I got the hang of it relatively quickly. So the first day I actually spun yarn was Wednesday, and today's Friday, or maybe it was Tuesday. But I think that's pretty good. It's definitely thick thin, but it's perfectly good. I'm really excited about it. So Miss Scout is barking and it's annoying me. I'm contemplating. I'm going to go ahead and spare you my contemplations. I'm going to let her in and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. While I was up, I grabbed what I was talking about, the roving. So here's a strip. And I don't know what fiber this is or anything, but it was just really perfect. Low stress. I didn't end up feeling wasteful because it was just all in fun, and it was fun to just play with the different colors. And when I sat down, I would just grab a new color and just keep adding to it. Now that I feel confident, a little more confident, I'm going to actually spin. I'm going to stop by the shop that's right here and hope they have some pretty roving that I can use and actually spin 2 bobbins and then work on the plying portion of the class on Craftsy, and then actually have a skein of yarn. I want to commemorate the beginning of my spinning journey with actual yarn that I knit into a hat or something. I don't really know what, depending, I guess, on the weight of what I spin. But I know that spinning is going to be part of my life as much as knitting. One of you said that you actually think you love spinning more than knitting, and I can actually see that. They just go so hand in hand. If you love knitting, then I feel like spinning just deepens that love, because our main tool is yarn. And when you can dive deeper into yarn, it is endless. I feel like I'm just now, it's like a complete rabbit hole. For instance, I really now want a blending board, and I want to be able to blend colors and make little Rolags, and there's no end to the fun. So I haven't been this excited about something in a long time. So I am really, really grateful that I was able to get the spinning wheel because of my parents and guilt-free start my journey of spinning, because it is, my husband was saying, like, you're just so happy this week because you're so excited to be learning this new thing. And I really am. It just feels, it feels very exciting. And, you know, like I was saying, I was really worried because I thought I was going to love sewing a lot. I thought it would be the perfect complement to knitting. So I took sewing classes, and I already had a machine that I inherited from my mom. But sewing just never clicked for me. I just did not like how precise you have to be. I did not like all the cutting and tracing, and I did not enjoy it at all. And I also think I really don't like the thing I love about spinning and knitting is it's completely analog. There's nothing plugged in anywhere. I love that. I love it, as it just feels so meditative to be in your body doing this thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but if you know, you know. And if you don't know, I really encourage you to try to find out if you might like it, because I don't know. I am obsessed and I can't wait. I feel like now I can't learn fast enough to keep up with my excitement. So I'm having to like take a deep breath and slow down and keep taking my class. And the lovely thing is on Craftsy, there's tons of other classes, you know, about fiber prep and how to design your own yarn. And these are teachers that are so skilled that none of us would have access to in most situations. So this is the absolute silver lining of living in a digital world. We have access to so many things. So I would love to know where you guys get your fiber. I know there's a lot of people on Etsy with shops that they sell fiber. I don't know where to get beautiful hand-dyed fiber, and I really am excited about that aspect of it, because you guys know how much I love color, and I look forward to being able to play with color in this new way. So I hope when I go to my local yarn shop, they might have something kind of interesting to work with. I know because Sharon told me they have Malabrigo Nube, I think that's what it's called. Malabrigo's, you know, roving, but I've heard kind of mixed reviews about that, so I'm not sure I'm going to go with that, but we'll see. I will let you know. I know there's tons of fiber clubs and all that, so I might join the Nest Fiber Club. Let me know if you guys have done one of those. Just give me all your suggestions. I am now one of you. I am obsessed with spinning, so I need to know everything you know instantly. Please just transport your knowledge to my brain, because I'm so ready and so excited. It's like jumping out of bed in the morning, because I just can't wait to go get back on my spinning wheel and work on it. So that is that, you guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. I'm gonna look at my notes here. I don't think so. It's Friday. I'm excited for the weekend. I do feel like this week went by pretty fast, probably because I was obsessively trying to learn to spin, but we don't have any basketball games this weekend. And it's so funny. Last weekend, I was complaining to you guys that there was like nothing but basketball. And then this weekend, there is no basketball. And I'm so sad. I love watching the boys play, and it feels weird when there is nothing. But you know, we get to hang out with some friends and enjoy some pretty weather and spin and knit and all that good stuff. So I will take it as a little extra time for all that good stuff. As far as books and shows. I finished The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan that I told you about last week. And when I say finished, that might be too generous. I really liked it at the beginning. And then I felt like it departed from reality a little too much. I guess it's set in the future. It starts getting a little out there, a little dystopic and futuristic. I think it almost felt like a blend between like Handmaid's Tale and Clara and the Sun. If you've read or watched that, I don't know. I didn't love it once we hit the halfway mark and kind of got into the meat of the story. So I just kind of skipped. I had to know what happened at the end. So I kind of skipped and figured out what happened. And then I just returned it to the library because I was getting very irritated with the main character. I was getting irritated with the story, and I feel like life is way too short to keep reading or watching or doing something you don't love. So now I just got, and I can't remember what it's called actually now that I think about it. Olga Dies Dreaming by Xochitl Gonzales. I haven't even opened it, so we'll see, but it got great reviews and I got it on Libby, so I'm excited to try it and I hope I really like it. It got interesting reviews and I don't even remember what it's about, which I really enjoy in my reading. I like having no preconceived notions or as little as possible, and just kind of getting to go along on the journey. As far as shows, we are watching 2 shows that I really like. And so I'm totally spoiled by streaming services where you can just binge watch all the season. And I'm so used to that when that doesn't happen, when I'm going week to week, I can't stand it. So both shows we are watching, Girls on the Bus, which I talked about last time on HBO Max, and Under the Bridge, which is on Netflix. They're both week to week. So I told my husband, I was like, we're going to have to just stop both of them. And let's just wait till they're both out so we can watch them at our own pace. Because sometimes we'll have like an evening where we have more time and we want to watch the episodes we can watch. And I hate when you're watching something really suspenseful and then it ends and you have to wait till the next week. I'm not here for that. This is in 1995. So we're going to wait on those, but they're both really good. Girls on the Bus, very light and good. Under the Bridge, not light at all, but really interesting and based on a true story, and I really like it. The other show we started Quiet on the Set. It's on HBO Max. Very, very disturbing show. It's a documentary about Nickelodeon and, what was going on behind the scenes there. I am just horrified. It just blows my mind that these things continually happen and children are put in situations such as that. So if that is triggering to you, don't watch it. I actually had to stop because it's just so upsetting. And sometimes it just feels, I don't know, it makes me feel so pained that it's hard to participate. The other show we started last night, because I'd heard so much about it, is Baby Reindeer on Netflix. I had no idea what it's about except to say, a lot of people were talking about it and it was like in the newspaper and I just kept running into it. So I thought we need to watch this because I need to know. So we started that last night. I was compelled from the first scene. We just completed episode 1 last night, so I don't know what's so disturbing about it yet, but I'm definitely here for it. I'm enjoying it. And that is my entertainment update for you. That was a lot. I feel like we're in the middle of a lot of different shows right now, but I love it. I love watching good TV. We live in a time of abundance in terms of series on all these streaming platforms. It's almost overwhelming. I find it very difficult to parse through the trash and find the gold. But I feel like there's a lot of good stuff out there right now. So if you have any suggestions, please send them my way. Always looking for books and movies and shows, mostly shows over movies. I'm not a huge movie person. I like the chunks, that go on for longer than one big movie in one sitting. So anyway, okay, my friends, I am hoping to squeeze in some spinning. But I have a whole bunch of boring tasks to do before I should probably sit down and start spinning. But oh my gosh, the wheel is calling me from by the window over there. Whatever you're doing for your making these days, I hope you are loving it and finding all that joy that I am in my making. And I can't wait to hang out with you again next week. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you then. Bye.